I'm sure we've all heard them say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as well as if you see it, you can be it. You can achieve it if you believe it. We've all heard that time and time again. However, I say, if that's true, then so is freedom and peace.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. My eyes could only behold my son. And now, after 25 years, I can view him as freely as I want to.
As a kid, I truly enjoyed math problems, problem solving, critical thinking. I wanted to be an architect. However, I found myself in a situation where a friend needed my help one night. He made a phone call to me. I responded to that. Shots were fired. I stood trial. A jury found me guilty, and the judge sentenced me to the rest of my natural life in the state of North Carolina.
In court, my daughter and I sat with clutched hands. We were not allowed in court during the trial. We were only allowed in to hear the verdict. As we sat there, I did not hear natural life. I only heard life. And I couldn't believe that this could be happening to my son. Prior to that, I always thought that anyone that was sentenced to anything, they were guilty of it until it happened to me. Hearing those words was like someone choking the life out of me very slowly, so much so I couldn't breathe. But in that time, my mind was trying to capture everything. My ears was listening, but not believing. But I knew that this was not the way our story would end, and my son would not spend the rest of his life in prison.
This challenged me to put this eye of the beholder philosophy to the test. If I could behold something and consider it beautiful, what else could I behold? After my trial, after sentencing, I felt, as we say on the yard, ready to check off, ready to end it. I couldn't comprehend, I couldn't imagine myself in one space for the rest of my life. As a 20-year-old, I imagined if I lived to be 70, I would spend 40 or 50 more years in one space. In and of itself, that was a burden that I was shackled to that was too much for me to bear. So once I used my mind to try to reimagine what freedom looked like, I didn't have the energy for it. So I had to pivot. I had to use my math problem-solving skills and my architectural desire to tear that thinking down and restructure a whole nother mindset. So my mother went into hyper gear and started flooding me with literature, materials about imagination, about fortitude, about endurance, and about creative visualization. One of the toughest things for me to do was to say to my mother, "Mom, I don't want to be here no more. I'm not happy here." However, somehow I was able to say that to her.
On my first visit with William at Central Prison, we sat in a small room about the size of a little closet. And in between us was a thick plate of glass. At the bottom, there were little holes so we could talk and hear each other. We sat and we talked for a few moments. William had his head down the whole time. I took my sunglasses off and I asked him, "Look at me. Look at me." He held his head up and he said something that pierced my heart. He said, "Ma, if I have to spend the rest of my life in here, I'll do something to harm myself." Again, that penetrated my ears, It rocked me to the core. And I asked him, put your hand on the glass. Put your hand on the glass. And I put mine. And I asked him, if you promise me, if you promise me that you won't do anything to harm yourself, I will get you out, and I'll make sure I set you free. That was the beginning of a long, hard journey. I left Central Prison that day asking God, how? How am I going to be able to keep this promise that I just made? But deep down inside of me, I just knew I was going to find a way. Later, William was transferred to Nash Correctional Facility, and the work truly began.
Well, Mom made a promise, and I had to pivot. I started reimagining what it would like to give myself a second chance. So my mindset began in this way. While I was in prison, I moved about with that I'm going home tomorrow swag. I imagined myself as a visitor getting ready to leave this place at any day. And my energy was very low, but every visit, every letter, every phone call was a reinforcement of what it meant and what I needed to do to maintain the mindset of what it meant to be free. And eventually I found myself gaining momentum. My conversations were as if I'm going home tomorrow. And the staff started to notice it. And the staff would say, I didn't know you had a natural life sentence. I would have never guessed that. And that was the beginning of a glimpse of what it meant to behold something so intentionally, so intently, where other people would start to see it for you. At the same time, Mom is continuously flooding me with literature, with books, with articles, with conversations to continue to nurture this seed of what it means to behold something. And I bought into it. I mentally rejected where I was, and I started to visualize where I'd rather be. Everything about me, I felt it in my senses. I smelled it. I saw it. I could hear it. And by the grace of God, I was granted an opportunity to go to a minimum custody facility. And there is where I saw people leaving the prison every day on work release, on study release. The gate was just flapping open, and I kept seeing myself throughout the day leaving, constantly leaving, constantly leaving. And my visits empowered me to really test this philosophy about what it meant to behold something.
I started a support group. Actually, William started it when he was at Nash Correctional Facility. He would call me and say, Mom, I need you to help this guy. I need you to help his mom to understand something about the law. I found that to be so strange. You're asking me to help someone else when we need help ourselves. But he insisted. He kept insisting. And in that time, I found that helping others gave us an opportunity for us to get help. I started that support group. We met twice a month. I invited lawyers, senators, and therapists to speak to my group. And the group started to grow, and it kept empowering me. I went to every round table meeting I could go to. I went to every reentry meeting I could go to. And I spoke out loud and clear. But in the beginning, it was about my son. Then it became about others. And that's when, again, the work kept going. The journey that we were on kept moving.
So I gave myself a second chance mentally. And eventually that second chance was personified through a letter that I received from the Parole Commission that basically said, we are strongly considering you as a candidate for parole. After 22 years in, when I received that letter, that stamped my approval of this eye of the beholder. The power was real. The transformation was real. My imagination pulled me through. So when I know that when you find yourself in a difficult situation that you don't like at present, Visualize yourself out of it. In my second chance, I was granted parole at Orange Correctional in Hillsborough, is where I really saw what it meant and what it felt like to go in and out of that gate as a free man. And I pay that forward through the work that we do, helping people transition back into community, through books, through speeches at different venues, through reentry work. All we want to do is give that power to other people, whatever situation they may be in. I give all the credit to my mother, who at a time when I felt I was on E, when I felt I didn't want to go any further, when I felt it was time for me to check off, my mother showed up, and my mother asked me to make her a promise. And I stand here today because I made her that promise. And we nurtured each other, and we feed each other. And I just want to thank you, Mom, from all my heart.
Thank you. Starting the transitional house was very important to me because I had an inside view of what men would need along with their families coming home from prison. I was very grateful for that opportunity. And as we continue on doing the support group, doing the transitional house, I found that we invited community because it's all about the community. It's not just about the house. It's about the community that understands how important it is that people have a second chance. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that opportunity. Our work will continue because the journey continues. We have not reached our destination as of yet. There's so much more work to be done. And I intend to complete my journey and reach my destination. And with the help of William and so many others in the community, my friends, my board members, my family, all the people that support us with other organizations, they help us do the work that we do. And with you all helping to do the work, I appreciate each and every one, and I thank you.
And I want to say, be careful what you behold. Be careful how you choose to see. Be careful how you dream. Use your imagination. Reject where you are if you don't like it, and project yourself where you want to be. The power is real. I tested the philosophy, and here I stand. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Good job.